This is absolutely a great short walk. It's only about an hour long, but it's lots of up and down. So you basically climb up the beacon and then come rapidly down to Chapel Porth, along the coast a little bit, and then you're back to the start. So it's what I'd call like a power walk, really. It's when you haven't got much time and you want a bit of exercise, so we'll have a look at that today. The path to the top of the beacon is well defined. It's not very steep. It only takes about 10 minutes to get to the top. But of course from here you get great views down towards St Ives Bay and to the coast, to which we'll be dropping to in a few minutes. But first we'll just go to the top of the beacon, where we'll get even better views towards Redruth and the north coast towards Newquay. On top of the beacon there's an old Ordnance Survey triangulation station marking the top, and this of course is where you get the best view. So looking west, as we did a minute ago, you've got basically St Ives Bay, then you've got the cliffs below us in front of the beacon, and as we sweep round we're now looking up the coast towards, well, the beach, if you can see it, is Porth, and then in the distance you've got sort of Towanroath Head, but in between, hidden, is Newquay. And below us here is St Agnes village. Then we look towards, it's probably not visible in the video, but you've got sort of Redruth area and the aerial on the way to Helston. And so we'll descend this path fairly steeply and head directly down into the Chapel Porth cove, which is just below us there. This path down is a little bit steeper than the one up. You just have to be careful you don't slip on this gravelly material. What's interesting around here is, I mean, one of the reasons it is a gravelly material is you look around and you're innocently thinking, oh lovely, but this is a lot of this is actually mine waste. So that down here, especially where you see all these gorse bushes, there's mine shafts and dumps of spoils, and this path just leads us down to the road that leads around the beacon, and we'll follow that road, a road from that down into Chapel Porth. Mine shafts around here have been capped, I think in the, late 70s, early 80s, mid 90s. So a lot of the shafts were open and very dangerous, and you know, children and dogs were falling down them. So they capped them by putting a big inverted pyramidal steel cage and filled it, you know, with rock and stuff to sort of block the shaft off. Some of the shafts, they you don't often see them, but they left bat entrances, but they're really on the big shafts. And normally you can tell where a shaft has been, not this particular post, but down this part, that path there, you can see like a little wooden post with a falling down sign on it. That would indicate there was a shaft there once. And all this humps and bumps are just mine waste. If we look at this shaft here, coming up on our left hand side. There won't be much to see now, but back in the 80s you would have seen a hole, a dangerous hole exposed, whereas now if we have a look, I'm hoping you'll find it's in a safer condition. You've got to always be careful by these shafts because you never actually quite know what you're going to see. But this has been capped, it's been filled in, and the post will just indicate that that's where the shaft has or is covered up. Sorry about the wind noise, but this is the attractive narrow road that leads down to Chapel Porth, down this steep little valley, scarred as you can see by, again, many mine shafts. This whole area was tin and copper mining area, so all over the place you'll see industrial scars from the past. Chapel Porth with the little beach here and the cove is the lowest point of this walk because we're at sea level. This is a great little cove. It's very small, but you get good surfing here, and of course this is high-ish tide, and so the sea does go out, and there is a fairly substantial portion of beach that can be used for a fair amount of time, but most folks hang around the cove here because they don't want to get cut off along the cliffs. But as you can see, this is sort of May the 16th, and we've already got some surfers in enjoying a good break here. We have to continue the walk by ascending the cliff path here, and this is now going to be quite a extensive climb up to where we started the walk. It's most enjoyable though because you're very close to the cliff edge nearly all the way, and you get some great views and the sound of the sea breaking below you. But I'll just walk to the little corner here, and then you can see the sort of gradient and the footpath before us. You see some folks ahead walking up that little section there. Once you get to a certain height, the path flattens up, so you're relatively high above the sea below, and then in front of us is the very famous Wheal Coates engine shaft, which is one of our more spectacular engine houses because it's just by the cliffs. Hear the lovely noise of the surf breaking. And again we look down towards St Ives in the distance and sort of Porthtowan in the near distance. What an amazing location. Having to build an engine house right on the cliffs here to follow the tin load that was obviously found in the cliff and then chased away and then down deep into the ground. Here, just past the building itself, is an iron grating which goes straight down to beach level. And so if you drop a stone, which I don't recommend, it goes all the way down to a pool in the bottom that's connected to the beach, so it's not too bad when it's tides in like this, but there could actually be somebody underneath down there when the tide's out and the beach is accessible, because from the beach you can walk in the adit and go right down into the shaft area and look up through the grating. But if we just look round the corner here, you'll find the grating just here, and you can see where people have forced a little hole to drop their stones. Now at the moment I can just about see the reflection of the water down below, but I'm sure the camera won't. But oh yes, I think you can. So that's where the pump would have operated. There would have been a big engine in here with a lever arm going up and down, pumping the shaft dry. After the engine house, we've got a fairly steep climb now for 200 or 300 yards up the cliff. You can see all this old mining rubble, old bits of stone that have come out of the mines and just been dumped as waste, mine waste. So we'll follow this path up. It goes up fairly steeply until we reach a fairly flat path again at the top of the where you can see the path developing ahead. So we'll follow it along, see what the views are like. It's quite a good view looking back at the engine house here. What a great day there. Right, the hard slog's over. We've got a nice easy flat walk on top of the cliffs now. And by the way, you can just, if we look up here, over there, if you can make it out, is the beacon where we were at the highest point. So that's the highest point. Then the lowest point was down there at sea level, and then we're going to be walking along the top here and back to the where we started, which is only about half a mile away now. While we're on this little top section, I can just see quite a well-defined shaft that's being capped with one of those cones. So we'll just have a quick look at that, as this one could still be open. So I'm not sure which mine it is, but it's one of the St Agnes set. Yeah, this definitely looks like it's open. It's normally when they're closed off, they turn the cone the other way up and sort of fill it, but this one's obviously been left open to allow bats out. Let's have a look. See how close we can get. It's obviously a fence, but yeah, this is quite a good example really, because you can see what the shafts used to look like before they were capped. Very substantial holes, very dangerously exposed. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any better view, and I'm certainly not going to climb over the fence. See if we can see any better this side. I think the trouble is we're into the sun here, so we continue along this path along to the point over there, and we'll do some more shooting there. Here I cheat a bit really, because instead of continuing along the coastal path, I take a path inland to cut across to where the start of the walk is. The reason I cut out that bit really is there's well, a car park there that's quite busy, and there's a little Coast Guard station, so it's really a very good little spot for viewing. But for the walk, I prefer to just keep to quiet back ways, as it were, rather than join up with everybody else in the car park. So I cut across here and then basically head up towards the start of the walk, which is just over there. So this could be the last bit of film I take on the walk, because it's fairly flat now. We've just cut across through a few fields and things, and that's back to the start again. But this walk, if you do it sensibly, is about an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. I suppose if I walk pretty quickly, I do it in an hour, just an hour and a couple of minutes. And then today, because I've been stopping and filming and talking to a few people, it'll be but like an hour and 20 minutes, I think. So anyway, great walk. That's the Beacon, St Agnes, and then down to Chapel Porth along the cliffs, past Wheal Coates, and then up again to the start.